Hello, everybody. Sorry, I was on mute as I was coming on with y'all. Welcome to today's webinar session titled Accelerate Learning Through Video, where we'll be discussing all of the ways that you can take advantage of what WeVideo has to offer to engage your students and enhance your classroom instruction with digital tools. I'm joined today by my colleague, Ryan. You have the power of two Ryans today to show off all of what our multimedia and interactivity features can do for you in your classroom, and how you can create content using the WeVideo editor and enhance that content by adding interactions to create interactive video lessons. WeVideo interactivity, if you are new to that concept, is an add-on feature to our WeVideo products. Some of you who are attending today may have access to these tools, and some of you who are attending today may be accessing these tools for the first time and or finding out about these tools for the first time. And just to give you a general overview of what WeVideo interactivity is that it's a powerful instructional design tool that leverages interactions to create active learning experiences for educators and students using video as the medium of instruction. And paired with WeVideo's multimedia creation tool, you now have end-to-end opportunities to create and personalize content and accelerate those academic gains in the classroom and beyond. As I said, I'm joined today by Ryan Larson. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. How's it going? Super excited to talk about interactivity with you all today.
Yeah, it's going great. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that you're here with me because Ryan joined our team, I don't know, about almost a year, more than a year ago now, and has incredible experience with the interactive video tool. And so I'm excited to be able to have him here today showing off that portion of our product. Ryan, can you just share with the listeners a little bit about who you are and your background?
Yeah, no. So I'm Ryan Larson, and I'm a leader on our customer success manager team. And I am actually a former classroom educator who used interactive video in various ways inside my own classroom today. And since the installation of WeVideo interactivity, there are so many amazing ideas that we've been seeing in our community. And I'm going to be showing you just a few that I have put together from my own experience in the classroom. And I'm really excited to show you just a couple of ways to maybe enhance some of your instructional videos for your students.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a team on our customer success org here at WeVideo full of former classroom teachers. I am also a former classroom teacher, as many of you who have seen these webinars might already know. Ryan and I actually did comboed on this session for our PD Palooza event. We've refreshed it a little bit. We're going to really focus in on a few use cases of interactivity, and we're going to use some activities that I have personally done and that Ryan has personally done in classrooms that we taught in. Maybe for me, it was a little bit different. I wasn't able to use interactive video content when I was teaching, but now understanding the power of creating that active learning experience and that engagement for students, definitely have become an advocate to utilize some of what I used to do traditionally as video. So excited to share that with you all today. So as we get going, Ryan's gonna hang out with me here, and then I'll be driving the first part of our presentation today, and then he will take over to share his use cases and his ideas of how, again, you can take content that you create in our WeVideo tools, our multimedia creation tools, and then bring them into interactivity and use that designer to create accountability to tutorial content you've made, or use our interaction types to create those interactive components to the video. Ryan's going to take you through how to create polished instructional videos that you can personalize your lessons and introduce third-party content. And then he's going to show you how you can use interactivity to enhance modeling and direct instruction and add those formative ongoing assessment questions and opportunities for students to your work. So we've got a lot to do, and we've got a lot to cover. Just real quick, I don't know why that went there. There we go. Okay. Just real quick, we've got some objectives for today that we're hoping that you take away from this session. And that's to, of course, understand the benefits of creating interactive video, but it's also to discover with us those simple use cases to include in your instruction. You're going to understand how to create, on the basic level, create a bulb, and we'll talk about what that is in just a little bit. And then create your own instructional video content. So showing off how exactly you access those tools to create your own content for your students that you add interactions to. Okay, so if you want, we want this session to be as interactive as possible. So before we get going, I just wanted to remind you to please use the chat to ask any questions. We have one of our customer success managers who's not part of this webinar standing by in the chat to answer any questions and to drop in any resources that we might have. I'll be checking in on the chat, as will Ryan, as we go through. So please, again, feel free to answer as many questions as possible. If you would like to follow along and you do not have access yet through your own WeVideo subscription or a district subscription that has been purchased for you, or a school site subscription, you may do that. We're going to drop in a sheet into the chat, and in that sheet, there are demo accounts that you may use to access the interactive tools that we are going to show you today. So many of you here with us might not have access to this through your subscription. So please utilize this resource, this Google Sheet, and grab one of those demo accounts. You can go head over to wevideo.com and enter the username and the password that we have provided you. There are both, now I will say this, in that sheet, there are both teacher and student accounts. So make sure you grab a teacher account to be able to follow along with us as we go through our use cases. If you have any questions beyond this session, or if you need to, if you're excited about these features and you want to know how to bring them into your classroom or access them through your account, you can always email us, success@wevideo.com, and we will put that request in front of the right person. So again, if you have any more questions following today's session, or if you're watching this on demand, because remember, all of our sessions are alive and then you access this on demand, you can go ahead and email us if you have any questions or you want to know more about how to access interactivity. Okay, Ryan, did I forget anything, or are we ready to jump in?
Well, let's get hopping.
Okay, let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and show you our first use case, which is to add interactivity to video projects. So this is, for me, I think the where we're going to start is introducing those interaction types and how to take a video project or an instructional project that you have created in WeVideo and add those different interactions types. So as you're adding interactivity, you can add multiple choice questions, free response questions, polls, and more. And we'll get into that when we get into the demo. You can use rich performance data that gets collected as your students complete the video lesson or the bulb. And again, I will talk through that with you when we get there, to adjust your future lessons. And it will allow learners and students to self-assess and work at their own pace. So by adding these interactions to your video content, you will be able to unlock these possibilities in your instruction and in the students' learning. Okay, I'm going to head over into my WeVideo account now, and this dropped me into our next generation editor. And what I'm going to start to do is create an instructional video. And as instructors or teachers, we're often creating slides or PowerPoint presentations or lecture presentations to help familiarize our students with key concepts, or to do any necessary pre-teaching, or maybe check background knowledge. And so as part of that assignment, we might ask our students to take notes or to show what they know in maybe a way that is more interactive than we've traditionally done, and to encourage this behavior and to increase accountability for students to quickly and easily take notes or interact with this video content. We'll record using WeVideo screen recording features and access that in our interactivity tools for either digital note-taking or to add those more engaging interactions. So to start, we're going to create a project in WeVideo by heading to the projects section. And this, you're going to want to access this space because this is where you'll be able to build that that instructional video outside of an assignment. So as you know, we have those classroom tools that's meant for student multimedia creation. Our screencasting tools are going to be meant for you to design that instructional content. So I'm going to go ahead and create a project here by selecting this button. I already have one created, which I'm going to go ahead and jump into. But just so you know, to create a project, it's simple. You select create a project and you can access your media from the stock media library or all of the uploads that you want to have access to create that instructional content. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of here and jump into my project, the animal habitats project that I started earlier today, and I'll select edit. So a couple of things that I've already done here is I know I'm going to create a instructional video to help frame and provide background information to my students. And like I mentioned earlier, I was a former classroom teacher. I taught elementary school. I taught third grade in California. And one of our big projects back when I was teaching in the third grade was animal reports. And so a large part of that was understanding the animal's habitat, because one of the tasks of the project was to write about and design an animal habitat. So if I were to do this using these tech tools and these multimedia and interactive video tools, I would start by creating a lesson, instructional content that would provide my students the background knowledge that they may need in order to see this project to completion and understand what I need them to before they jump into the main bulk of the work. So what I've already done here is I've already went through my stock media library and selected some clips that I'm going to build into the video that I have planned. But the main part of my instructional content is going to come from the slides presentation that I've created that I'm going to simply screen record for my students. So what I did there is in order to do that, I'm going to select record and I'm going to select my screen and then I'm going to select next. I'm going to select my audio source. You can talk over this screencast or you can choose no audio. For now, I'm going to select no audio because this is just an example. But if you were talking over slides, you'd want to select your microphone, hit next. And then I am going to select my entire screen that I'm on now, and I'm going to slide over to that slides presentation, okay? So when I share my screen here, it's going to give me my countdown. And then right at that last second, I'm going to go ahead and slide over here to my slides presentation. I was practicing earlier and I forgot to back it up. So I'm going to go ahead and back that up, and then I'm going to play it. And as I'm playing it, my screen recorder is capturing this content for my students. So what it's doing is it's going through slides I've prepared with some text that I'm going to ask students to read and take notes on and interact with when I build that interactive video lesson, or what we refer to as a bulb. So this is going pretty fast, but the video is going to allow students to pause and take notes at different points in the video. Okay, I'm going to stop it there because I know that that's where I'm going to add my custom stock media content. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And it should bring me back here to my editor. And I'm going to click save. Now, it captured a little bit of what I didn't want it to capture, which was the start of my countdown. But I could easily edit this out if I needed to by using the video editor to get to the place where I want it to be and start. I'm just going to do this just to show you since I'm in here, quickly cropping my clip. Once that's finished, I can drop in some stock footage and create a instructional video that has text-based elements and images or movies to support my students' learning as they go through this content when I've built my interactive video lesson. So after I'm finished building my video by dragging and dropping my media into my timeline, I'm simply going to select export, okay? And I've got all of my export options that I need, and I'm going to select export. Now, this is now going to process. In the interest of time, I'm going to click done. I already have a video prepared to view and exported. So this video on animal habitats is the same video that I was making earlier. It's already been exported so that I can access it in interactivity. And so I'm simply going to go and do that now. Click done here. I'm going to head out of NextGen and go ahead and jump into my interactivity. So this is where, if you don't have these features as part of your paid subscription, you're going to want to jump into that demo account that we provided in the chat and make sure you can access this space through this drop-down menu in order to follow along with what we're about to show you. So jumping into interactivity, and it's going to pull up all of the bulbs that I've made. And a bulb is our name for the interactive overlays that can be applied to any video file that you are using to create that interactive video lesson. So I'll show you as we jump into the designer. You'll be able to add up to 8 different interaction types that you encourage your students to pause, reflect, engage, and assess their understanding of the content that you're putting in front of them. So once my video is here, now, as you can see, again, I've already created a bulb, but I'll take you through that process to give you a fundamental understanding of how simple it is to add these different interaction types, or even just create accountability through allowing students to take notes on the videos that I've produced in WeVideo. So I'm going to go ahead and select Create New Bulb, and it's going to drop me into our designer here. And I'm going to first be dropped to and asked to provide the video source in which I'm going to add my overlays to. So for us, we're going to access WeVideo, but you can also, if you have the access points for these, you can access Vimeo or YouTube videos as well to create these bulbs, these interactive video lessons. So I'm going to select WeVideo because that's where my content is. And I see here that I have my animal habitats video, but you can have access to all of the edits that you have made in your account. So I know that I did my animal habitats project. That one that you saw there is the most recent one that I created, but I have all of my exports from WeVideo. They appear here in my interactivity drop down, so I can get access to whatever I need that I've created. And for this one, I have my animal habitats, so it's going to initialize the video and pull up my finished animal habitats video. It looks like I'm going to need to do that again. I want to quickly search for this. Just give me 1 second to go ahead and find that correct export. I thought that was the one. That one's still rendering, it looks like, as I showed you earlier. So the rendering time that you're going to want to give it maybe a couple minutes until your video is ready to be exported. And once that's finished, it will be available to you in interactivity. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose another project while that renders. We'll choose this sloth demo video because that goes along with animal reports. And I think this is an animal habitat report or activity in WeVideo's assignment ideas library. So fitting that I found this one in my exports. So I'm going to go ahead and select done here. I can customize by cropping and editing, cropping or trimming the video if I select customize, but I'm fine with what the content that I have here. I'm going to select done. And what this is going to drop me into now is I'm going to be able to create my interactions or apply templates to the video to create those active learning experiences for my learners, my students. Now, as I mentioned earlier, a really simple way to use interactivity is to provide accountability for making sure that your students are watching the videos or making sure that your students have access to take notes while they engage with the video content. So I'm going to apply our note-taking template because this is a great way to quickly create this video content for your students. So I'm going to go ahead and select apply. And it's going to apply a note template, which is going to teach them about the power of observation and how to use Interactivity's note-taking feature to create timestamped notes that students can download and jump back to in the points of the video that in which they took those notes. So that's all I'm going to do here is I'm going to add this template, the power of observation, and I'm going to go over to review and just preview what that looks like for students. So I'm going to go ahead and name the video Amazing Sloths. I can add learning objectives, and I can also add tags if I want to help me understand or find things in my bulbs. When I've created a lot of bulbs, I might want to search for specific videos, and I can do that through enabling tags. I can change the playback option. So for this one, I want to make sure that my learners can't fast forward and that they can rewind this one, because if they're taking notes, I want them to be able to go back if something went too quickly and access that content again. But I don't want them to move forward. I only want them to move back. And that means that they can't just scrub all the way to the end and not take any notes and complete the video. So again, creating that accountability for your students to interact with your video content. I'll hit Save Changes, and then I can select Preview and take a look at what this would look like for my students. So I'm going to select Play. It's going to pull up my power of observation information. It's going to tell me that I need to go to my sidebar and I need to navigate to my Notes tab, and that I can now start entering my notes about the Amazing Sloths video. So as I play the video, I select Continue. As a student, I can now take the Amazing Sloths. I can pause here, and I can take a time-stamped note. Sloths live in the tropical rainforests in Central and South America. And I will hit Enter, and it's going to timestamp the note. Now, you might have text, or you might have someone narrating in order to have the students engage. I obviously just copied the text off the captions right from the video. But again, the whole point of showing you this is to provide you an example of how to create accountability in the video content you're designing, and to offer a way for students to take timestamped notes as they go. So you can download a copy of your notes and access that as a text file. And then when you go back to your video, you'll have those timestamped notes in exactly the spot that you took them in. So what I'm going to do now is back out of the preview and head over to my designer again. And I'm happy with this. So I'm going to go ahead and save and exit, and it will now be in my bulbs library as my Amazing Sloths. I can now assign this to students to take. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and go back and see if that video that we created earlier has rendered and it's ready to go. And if not, I'll go ahead and jump into share. I'll edit the bulb I have here already made. So we'll work on the fly here if this video hasn't rendered yet. So again, I'm going to select my videos. I'm going to select WeVideo. And there it is. Now it's rendered here. So I have my animal habitats video. It's going to initialize, and now it has popped up. Now the media is there. So what you saw earlier told me that my media was not ready quite yet to be used here because it hadn't finished exporting on the WeVideo side. So what we're going to do with this video is we're not just going to add notes. We're going to add interactions to create those engagement opportunities for students within this video. So I'm going to go ahead and click done because this is the video source that I want. Again, there are, as I said earlier, I'm going to scrub this back. I think it's all the way at the end. Yeah. There are 8 different interaction types that you have access to, from multiple choice to fill in the blank to polls to free response and discussion questions. And then there's annotation interactions in which you can allow students to pause and remind them or encourage or ask for moments of reflection, or you can actually embed websites, which is what I'll do right now. So at the beginning of this lesson, I want to provide a resource to students to have access to in order to gain more information than I might be able to provide in this video. So I found this really cool Nat Geo Kids website on habitats. And so I'm going to paste that in here and select done. And it's going to populate the sidebar interaction with the Nat Geo website. So I'm going to go ahead and select done for that. And it just created my interaction. Now, you can create more interactions for this video by playing the video and stopping it where you want to add your interaction. Or you can add them as a group in the beginning of your bulb and change the timing as to where you want in the video for that interaction to pop up for students. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and scrub back a little bit because I wanted to ask them a question about the lion. Now I'm doing this quickly. You might take some more time in order to build the experience that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and select a multiple choice interaction and begin building a really quick multiple choice question here just to check that they're watching the video. Maybe this is it's not a gotcha question, but it's hey, I need to make sure that you're actively engaged here. So I might simply provide a really quick question that may have a simple answer. It's up to you. Again, I'm copying and pasting, but you can type right into the text, the space there. And then I'll build my questions. So the first response here, the first multiple choice question will be Africa. And this is where can I find lions in their natural habitat? I'm going to select another A continent and select Australia. And then what I can do as well is based on their responses, I can add feedback to these questions. And this is just a really great way to give students just-in-time feedback and help them understand why they did or did not answer the question correctly in real time. So as they're answering the questions, if they're correct, it gives a certain piece of feedback. And if they're incorrect, it's going to give them a piece of feedback as well. So again, this is just a really great way to enable learners to see how to self-assess in real time. Okay, so I've put my choices in. I'm going to select done. The interaction must have a correct answer. My bad. The correct answer is Africa. Select done, and it's going to populate my interaction here. Now, as we get into the slides, I'm going to want to remind my students that they can pause. That they can pause the video and make use of the notepad in order to take notes on the slides that I've provided. So I'm going to enter a pause interaction. I'm going to go ahead and enter some text. You can pause the video to read the slides at your own pace. So I'm giving some instructions. I'm selecting done, and it's going to create that pause interaction for you. So that's in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and that'll be the last interaction I add, but you can see all the different things you could do with just this slide deck that you have screencasted and captured and what kinds of interactions you can offer your students. If you wanted them to have a discussion about the slides, you could do that. If you wanted to provide some free response questions, you could do that. You could add more multiple choice questions. Whatever fits into your instructional flow is accessible and available using these interactions in our interactive designer. So when I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and review this. I'm going to title it Animal Habitats. Why does it do that? Okay. And again, I can provide it a learning objective or add tags. I can, again, change the playback options. Maybe I don't want them to allow to rewind. I don't want to allow them to skip them. I don't want them to fast forward. I might want them to retake it. It's up to what this video lesson is doing for your students in your classroom instruction. So I've added my playback options and I'm going to click Save Changes. And now my bulb has been successfully updated. And I'm going to go ahead and preview just to make sure, again, I can go through these interactions. I'm not going to take you all the way through them, but just to show you what it looks like. This is what the web embed pops up to be. And then as I move through it, you can see, and it'll just take a couple seconds as it moves through. Right when that line pops up at the very beginning, it's going to bring me my multiple choice question where I can then respond. And if I said Africa, I'm correct, and it's going to give me that feedback in real time. So that is how you would preview. If you're happy with it, you can save and exit. If not, you can go back to your interactions and edit and change as you need to. So once I've saved and exit, I'm going to assign this to my class by selecting the thumbnail for my, and I realize I spelled that wrong. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and select my thumbnail and select assign. Now in WeVideo's environment, you're going to have access to assign this to classes that you've created in WeVideo Classroom that will be rostered with the students that have joined that class already. So for this class, this is my science class that I want to assign it to. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select assign. So the assignment is going to be sent. I can share this with this link, but really students just need to log into their WeVideo account, head over to interactivity, and they'll have access to take the bulb from within this science class. So last thing for you, you can monitor the learner's attempts, the student's attempts at your bulb by, again, selecting that thumbnail and selecting to monitor. And since I've assigned it to this science class, it's going to allow me to monitor all of the students in that science class and how they have interacted with this bulb. So I went through with 4 students earlier and took some notes from their accounts, and I answered questions right and wrong. So you can see a number of things, how long it took them to complete, when they completed it as a timestamp, and then how they responded to that multiple choice interaction. And you will be provided, if you used free response, you can see the responses, the discussion as well. But all of the interactions that you provide for your students will be captured here on this monitoring page for you to see how long your students spent on this and where they might be successful and where they might be struggling. So that is the basics and foundations of using that first use case of creating an interactive learning opportunity for your students. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over. I know Ryan's been hanging out. I had meant to dip him off the screen, but he was so gracious to hang out and smile and nod, as I will be doing during his portion. Ryan, what do you have coming up for us? You want to share jump in and dive into that next use case that we're going to show off here?
Yeah. Well, first, I really love just some of the feedback features that you showed right there. Like, imagine your student getting that while watching a video, getting the question wrong, like instead of disappointment or something like that, like they're going to be informed to do better on that question that next time. So that was one thing that was in my mind, just kind of thinking about that student experience and how like we can really promote that interactivity to, promote those growth mindsets that we all love inside of our classrooms and things like that. So that was excited. I'm really excited now to show you just a couple of instructional strategies that I would use as well. We're actually going to start with a little bit of a mashup of some WeVideo content and some third-party content. So I know many of you instructors inside of your classes utilize third-party content from, say, YouTube. And I'm going to show you an instructional strategy that allows you to create resources that you can scale out and then create again and again with similar videos, as well as show you some really great strategies for adding interactivity in a way that allows for deeper learning and deeper thinking for your students inside of your classrooms. And so I'm here on my WeVideo design page, and I'm actually designing what I like to call a 3-2-1 strategy, a strategy introduction. And so I created this short webcam explanation of how to use a strategy called the 3-2-1 strategy. I know many of you all might use similar strategies. I know for me, I'd use like the notice and note strategy. I know for math strategies, there's tons of different ways that you're going to want your students to be able to apply their knowledge again and again. So this is a really great way to apply those instructional strategies inside your class. And so I start here by actually just having a quick recording. I used my webcam to explain to my students and give a short introduction using that webcam recording of what the 3-2-1 strategy is. And so I briefly intro there, and then I use some of WeVideo's stock video and images, as well as some text and cool transitions to make this something that I can do over and over again. And so I'm going to explain the 3-2-1 strategy for my students. So I'm going to explain, hey, find 3 facts from your video. Then I do a little transition to have my students talk about 2 questions that they have about that video. And then finally, we have our last stage right here, which is I want my students to make one personal connection with the video. Now, I created this WeVideo creation to really prompt my learners' thinking before actually giving them my instructional video. So again, just like Ryan showed, I would export that video, making sure it was inside of my screen. I'm just going to click export right there. But now I'm going to go to my interactivity designer, and I'm going to show you how we're going to mash these 2 videos up into an instructional strategies video. And so I'm going to start here where it says add video again. I'm going to go to WeVideo. So we're going to find a 3-2-1 strategy video. So I actually have one that is already ready to go. Here is my summarizing strategy video right here. So this part of my assignment is really just going to be me introducing how to do the 3-2-1 strategy. Now, I know many of you have that YouTube or have YouTube content or other web related content that you want to pull in, want to analyze. I'm going to click add video right underneath my selection. And you'll see my option to use a YouTube video. One of my favorite things about this is I can actually search YouTube videos. So I'm just going to give an example. So right here, there's some of my favorite videos, but as well, if you actually have the YouTube URL for that video, you can actually copy it right in that search bar as well. So it makes it a really efficient way for you to select those videos. And so here is my history of the world in 18 minutes. I am going to select done on that video. And just like that, you're going to notice we have 2 videos now going to play. This will actually, for your learners, will be one seamless experience. So it has me introducing what they're going to do. And then we have this video right here that our students are going to analyze. So now let's get into setting up that video and actually adding in the interactivity for my learners as they're going through. So at the very beginning of that video, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to open that template gallery again, just like Ryan showed earlier. The template gallery is really great because it gives you some easy starting templates for adding interactivity into the bulb. And so I'm going to start with that learner notes template right there, and I'm going to apply it. Now we have a wonderful GIF inside of here already built out showing your learners how to get to that notes template. But I want, again, to focus it in with the assignment at hand. And so I'm going to copy in some of these directions from my lesson plan that I have going here. And so at the very top here, I'm just going to edit with some directions for what they're going to be doing. So now this is a quick introduction. It says at the end of this video, you're going to be asked 3 questions. Utilize this learner notepad to be able to answering the following questions. So what are 3 facts you learned from this video? What are 2 questions you have about this video? And what is one personal connection you have to this video? Now, think about that in the context of your students. This is giving me the power to have multiple ways of representing this knowledge and process to my learners. So not only am I able to tell my students via video format, but I'm able to support that as well via this rich text. So it really helps my learners kind of meet that barrier or lower that barrier to access this specific assignment and meet all the learning needs that I'd want. Back to just kind of setting up this interaction. Once I'm ready, I can just click done right there. And now my students have not only text directions for this assignment, but they also have video directions, which I'll press play a little bit so you can see that. All right, so I'm going to pause right there and I'm going to take my scrub bar. Now, again, I could go and timestamp questions throughout here, but I'm thinking about scalable ways to allow my learners into deeper thinking and learning. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the scrub bar all the way to the very end of the video. I'm going to leave about maybe 2 seconds of buffer at the very end of the video. But at that point, it says add an interaction at 18 minutes and 18 seconds. I'm going to click on that button to add an interaction. And I'm going to generate 3 free response questions. And so I'm going to start right here with my first 3 response question. And you all can probably guess what it is. This free response question is going to be, what are 3 facts that you learned from this video? So my learners are going to have to respond with what they've put inside their notepad, what they've learned from that video, and think about that summary for this 18-minute long video from my course. So I'm going to click on done there. Now, if I want to add other interactions, so to get my 2 and the 1 for the strategy, I'm just going to click on this button where it says add interaction to group. I'm going to click on free response right here. And you might guess what this next question is. What are 2 questions that you have about this video? So again, I'm going to type that in for my learners. You'll also notice this rich text editing bar right there. There's a lot of different ways that you can enhance your questions for your learners as well to add more layers of support. So if I wanted to add images or emojis or even some audio reading or audio to read to my learners, I can do it right here in that rich text editor. I'm going to click done. Right there. So here you can see that stack of questions. I'm going to click one more time to add that interaction to the group. And my last question is going to be, what is 1 personal connection you have to this video? I'm going to click done one more time. It's going to add that interactivity into the video. But just like that, I've set up almost like a video worksheet for my learners. So here, my learners can go, they can analyze, and at the very end of the video, I can see my learners' deep thinking and thoughts that have been supported with things like our notepad, and the ability to play back that video. So I'm going to go to review, which is our final step here. I always like titling my assignment. So here is my 3, 2, 1 summarizing. And this one is for world history. I can go in here to some different playback options. I might like to rewind for my learners to rewind so they can play back some of those facts and connections that they had. As well, one that I always like right here is that view their printable report. And so that's a really cool functionality. It actually allows your learners to view all the questions that they submitted. So it's a really great way for learners to actually recap what they're saying or what they are putting inside as far as answers for their bulbs. But those are some of the primary settings that I'm going to adjust right now. I'm actually going to save changes right here. And it's going to tell me that my bulb's been updated. It's going to take me back to my bulbs dashboard. And here I can see that I actually have my summarizing strategy ready to go. Now, I did all of that work to set up that summarizing, all that work with the production of that WeVideo introduction to 3-2-1 summarizing strategy. What if I took that work and applied it to another lesson that I also want my learners to do the 3-2-1 strategy for? Well, let's do that right here. So I'm actually going to copy that 3-2-1 strategy bulb. And this one is actually going to be on ancient Egypt. And I'm going to choose copy only for the first time just to show you in that bulb's library. But I'm actually going to go and edit this bulb. Now, if I want to use this base video with this instructional video or with a new instructional video, what I can actually do is I can just click this edit icon here to edit that video segment. Then I can actually just go here to YouTube and search for content. And so here, I have a lot of great content inside of here. Here is I'll go with ancient Greece for right now, an ancient Greece Nat Geo video. But as soon as I pull it in there, I now have a new instructional strategies video. Again, the only thing you may need to do is adjust this timestamp. So I might need to drag it to a new timestamp here. But as soon as I have that, it is now set up with these problems. Again, I could save and exit and then assign that to my classroom. I can also go in and do a short preview like Ryan showed you earlier, just to show you what this is going to look like. Oh, so there's my instructional strategy. I'm going to fast forward. There are my 3, 2, 1 strategies at the very end of the video that your learners will interact with. So that is the 3, 2, 1 summarizing strategy. I'm going to save and exit right here because I actually have I have one more strategy that I'd love to show you today. But just a quick highlight again, 3, 2, 1 strategy, or reusing content in that way is a really great way to get the most out of your interactivity. So set up those instructional strategies. Think about how you can have your learners think deeply about the problems and deeply about the videos and utilize some of the built-ins such as the notepad while going in. And so that is our instructional strategies, or one of our instructional strategies right there. Now, I'm going to jump in and show you one last way to think about using interactivity for today. And this is actually one that I probably would have used every single day within the WeVideo interactivity space. And that is using my mini lessons or read alouds for instruction with interactivity. So here you can see I have a quick instructional video or a quick mini lesson video already created inside of WeVideo. I utilize some things again, such as the text, such as things such as the video, the WeVideo video library, and some audio to actually enhance a little bit of my modeling. So it's not just boring Mr. Larson read alouds. It's an exciting read aloud with just a little bit of effort. Then again, I use my front facing camera. So again, just using that recording, using that webcam, using the power of your voice and your instruction to bring a real experience for your learners in that one place is how I set up this specific video. I went again to export that video into WeVideo. And once that export is ready to go, I can navigate into interactivity, which I will do right now. And so I'm going to jump into my interactivity page. Again, to create that content, I'm going to click on Create New Bulb. It's going to open up that designer for us. We know this one is actually a WeVideo creation. And so again, a simple WeVideo creation. I'm going to access my read aloud mini lesson right there. And again, like I said before, I would have used this probably every day. Imagine your learners being able to re-watch this content again and again. Imagine them using this as a pre-work or overnight for homework, or even some extra practice, or being able to review this right before a test inside of your classes. The power of re-watching a video is super important. And we're going to enhance that power by adding in some interactions here. And so I'm going to click done because my video is pulled in and selected. I'm now going to take this scrub bar and I'm going to scrub to the first place I want to ask a comprehension question for my learners. And so I'm going to go to about 1 minute and 48 seconds. At that time, I'm going to open up all 8 of our different interaction types. I was an ELA teacher by trade, so I'd always love my learners to explain their responses. And so here I'm going to use a free response. And with this free response question, I'm going to ask them a little bit about some of the challenges inside the video so you can ask and get those thoughts, get that thinking activated right away. I added in my text right there. Again, I can enhance it with rich text if I want to. I'm just going to click done because I want this to be a simple but impactful lesson for my learners. I'm going to scrub my scrub bar one more time. Interactivity allows you to put in checks for understanding around important things like academic vocabulary. One of the best ways to do it is through what's called our fill in the blank interaction. And so I am going to ask them a little bit about this important vocabulary word that we have. And so it says the first type of invention is called A. And then I see this fill in the blank button right here, or this add input blank button right here. And so I'm going to click that. That's going to allow me to put an answer. So I am going to start here with this answer prototype. And to do that, I enter my choice and click, or I type in my choice and I click enter. Let's say I know my learners have some misspellings that are already there. I can actually put that in right there. I can type in any misspellings I would like in here, and it will actually be auto graded for me. So that's a really great way to work in some easy grading concepts for you. I know this lesson is not about the Chat GPT world, but a quick tip. A lot of our colleagues actually use Chat GPT to look up some common misspellings for words right there. So if you're looking for that, like that could be another extension there. But here we have prototype. We have 2 answer blanks that will be automatically graded for me. And it's checking, most importantly, it's checking in that my learners can apply this word to context. And I'm going to click right here and click done. And then at the very end of my read aloud. So again, this could be a pre-work for the night before. This could be an in-class. This could be in class. So that way you can meet with your specific teams or groups or individuals. But I'm going to put in this interaction at the very end of my bulb. And I'm going to be asking some 2 text-dependent questions. So 2 very standards aligned questions just for a formative assessment at that very end. And so here is my multiple choice question. I'm just going to put my answer blanks again. I'm just clicking into the answer blanks and either typing or copying in that answer. So again, inputting answer blanks, typing or copying the answer. And then I can choose that correct answer choice by clicking on the multiple choice blank. Again, I said, and my favorite part of Ryan's example was that feedback that we had right here. And so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add in some individual feedback for that answer. So I can actually add feedback to correct or incorrect answers. This time I'm just going to pause here, or I'm just going to put it for the correct answer that we have. But just like that, I'm going to click done and my answer is set up. I have feedback. I have a correct answer. I'm going to add in one more question for my learners as they go through. And this time I'm going to use the check all questions. So as a teacher, check all questions are everywhere. They're one of the best ways to assess rigor, or they're one of the best ways to add rigor for your students. And so I'm going to click on the check all question right here. I'm going to make my learners really think about why their answer is the most correct. And so I'm going to say, choose all that apply. So it's really going to force my learners to think about, hey, which one of these answers applies to the best, or applies the best. And so I'm going to put in these answers. Now we have 2 answers that are the most correct answer right there. And so I'm just going to click in to that answer, to this correct answer choices. And then I'm going to click done. So inside of this instructional video that, again, I could have as a pre-lesson, that I could use as the lesson, that I can use again later for review, I have just a short free response question. I have a fill in the blank question that's checking for academic vocabulary. And at the very end, I have some formative assessment questions that align to the standards that I'm using inside of my course, which I will probably use to assess maybe the next steps with my learners in achieving some of those objectives. The last step is always here to review your bulb. Today, I'm just going to write the title. I can also utilize things like a keyword. So I believe this is in my module 3. One of the nice things about tags is they're unique to what you put. So if you have unique module names or unique organizations, you can put them in, and then they will later populate as you type them in. Playback options. I always ask my learners to look back at the video, look back at that text. So rewinding is always a good option for me, but is not applicable all the time. And again, I love that principal report for my learners to be able to get a receipt of everything that they have answered inside of that bulb. When I'm ready to apply those changes, I can simply just click Save Changes, Save and Exit, and go through my flow to, again, assign that bulb to one of my WeVideo courses. And then my learners will be able to grab that bulb from within the interactivity dropdown or using that link that was shown, and they'll be able to access that assignment. And so those are my two examples that I'm so happy to share with you today. I really, honestly, I would have used both those strategies probably in different forms every single day, whether it's me modeling or setting up that deeper learning and practice for my learners every single day. And so just think about how you might be able to scale this out. Think about how you can mash up some of your content that you might already create with WeVideo. But it was great showing everybody. And looks like Ryan is back.
I popped in as you were finishing up there, Ryan. I just think we didn't even look. We've almost been live now for an hour, right? And we've shown 3-ish. I know I kind of mashed together 2 use cases, but it's just hitting the tip of what's possible with these tools. And you showed a couple of instructional strategies that show different ways to allow learners or students to access the content that you need them to in an engaging and an active way. We saw adding that interactivity to video projects, which helps in creating those engagement opportunities. If you're trying to present background knowledge, we saw how you revamped some of your instructional strategies that you might have used without video to mix and match the third-party content like you showed with that example from ancient Greece, or improve your instructional rigor. And then we saw how you modeled through video using that read aloud and promoting those show what you know, or those questioning strategies, using it in assessment and getting that real-time feedback. So I just think that there's so much more that we'll be able to do, show you in the future. But I hope that you saw through what Ryan and I showed you that there are possibilities to create these experiences for your students using these tools. Ryan, any final thoughts from you on that?
No, it was really great covering just the tip of the iceberg. We can't wait to see what you all can come up with as far as interactivity and extending these to meet your learners' needs wherever you're at. And so we look forward to that.
And so as we part ways today, we are offering tons more webinar content throughout on our Crowdcast page. So if you go back through the Crowdcast page, you can have access to all the on-demand content that we've already run. We have a few more webinars to close out November, and then we're going to take a pause in the month of December, and we'll be back with more interactivity and multimedia content in the month of January. If you are viewing this on demand, or you couldn't stay around the whole time and you've come back to watch it, if you have any other questions, please, again, feel free to email us, success@wevideo.com. You can view this on demand on our Crowdcast channel, or you can head over to youtube.com/@wevideo to view this from our YouTube channel as well. And then last thing, if you want to take advantage of using these interactivity tools, please access one of those demo accounts that you can use to try out interactivity. Those will be turned on until the end of the calendar year. So please go ahead and grab one of those demo accounts. We'll be following up with you in an email. You'll get the access to this on-demand video, access to those demo accounts, and a infographic from today's presentation on how you can use interactive video to accelerate learning and instruction in your classroom. And until then, we'll see you next time, and happy creating. Bye now.